Hi, this is Stacia, and I'm going to share a tournament game that I played tonight. As part of the Tuesday Tussle, this is an online rated tournament, and tonight I faced my old coach, but kind of current coach too, Jim Anteline. And well, you could find many games that I've played against him on my channel. And usually when I would play black, I would get a Banco Gambit, but I have a new repertoire. So let's have a look at this game. Now, I will tell you that the critical moments happen between move 30 and 37. So I'm going to go fairly quickly through this game until about that point, and then we're going to focus our efforts on understanding what happened there. So, okay, right on move 1, this differs from our other games where I would play knight f6, and after c4, I would go c5, and he would go here, here, and I believe he would take once, if I'm not mistaken, a6, and then f3. And we had, I want to say at least 3 games in this line of the Banco Gambit. But as you can see, I actually don't play knight f6 on move 1 anymore. Now I play d5. Let's just put a pawn in the center. All right, and after c4, we're actually in a queen's gambit. And now against this, I play the move d takes c4. This is the queen's gambit accepted. Okay, and I have Sopika's repertoire on Chessable for the queen's gambit accepted, which I'm following to the letter so far, if I remember it. All right, and after e3, this is a calmer version of the queen's gambit. I think the more challenging move is actually e4, because after e4, I go b5, and if they go a4, I go c6, and if they go knight c3, I go a6, and then we play this exchange sacrifice. Yeah, and this is pretty crazy stuff, right? So I kind of wish we would have played in this line. But instead of that, he played e3. And after e3, I just go knight f6. And the idea is e6, c5, a6. Then probably b5, bishop b7. And then knight c6, bishop b7, etc. So he played knight to f3. c5 I played. You can play this move because if they take, we take the queen with check. Not so good for white. And he castled, and now a6. So now I'm threatening b5, and the normal move here is a4. But here, at least I thought it was, I have the opening book open, and I'm noticing now that there's some other moves that are usually played. So I thought a4, I think a4 is the move given by Sopika in the course, but I'm not totally sure. I'm going to see what the engine wants. Wow, the engine wants b3. I wouldn't even think about that move. b3, I guess, to play bishop b2. I'm not sure what b3 is. But okay, I guess the other moves here are bishop b3, just avoiding the b5 push. And also d takes c5, which goes into an ending, I'm pretty sure, because I could take with my queen now, and I probably should, and then recapture here. I would think that this position, you know, is mostly equal, but I know that white has a slight edge here without turning on the engine, but these endings aren't like super scary. It's just like white has a little bit of an edge. So, okay. I'm used to the move a4 here, stopping b5. And if that were to happen, what should I do here? It's a good question. I don't want to play bishop b7 because then they'll take and I'm down a tempo in the same endings. Then again, a4 has been played. So I guess I could play c takes d4, but the main move is knight to c6. Now, I would be nervous about this move. But I guess white does not have enough on that. I have three guys guarding. So, okay, and then here. Someone just wrote to me in the chat. All right, he asked me, well, I don't want to spoil the result of the game. But okay, let's continue. I know I'm digging in more than I said I would, so let's continue. Knight b to d2 was played. Now, I think the idea behind this move is that sometimes the knight can be vulnerable on f3. Like if knight f3, I would play b5, and after the bishop retreats, I can play c4, I believe. Let's check with the engine. Pretty sure that I could play c4 here if I want. Maybe not. Maybe there's e4. Yeah, actually I'm wrong. So I probably don't play it right away. But I can tell you that one idea that I would keep an eye on would be to play here. And then if b3, we actually have b4. And when the knight moves away, we have c3. And we get this nice little pawn wedge in here. And it's pretty strong for black when that does happen. But okay, so the knight's not on c3, so that makes b4 doesn't come with tempo anymore. All right, so he went bishop d3. So I see the computer's giving this a weird move mark. Dubious. Well, I get what he was doing. During the game, I was like, okay, he really wants to play e4, and he wants to keep the bishop on that diagonal. But it does allow me to play c4 with tempo if I want to. Now, I didn't do that right away because all my pieces are in the back row. So I played bishop to b7, keeping an eye on that e4 square. And after he played a4, at this point in the game, I was a little bit nervous because he's threatening to take, and take with check, and I would lose a pawn. Oh, don't forget he would take here first. Takes. It's part of the reason I wanted the bishop on b7 to guard the rook. So how to defend? Here I came up with some different options. I thought I could play c4. I thought I could play bishop b6, and queen b6. Or I thought I could play queen a5. So these moves, but, well, queen a5 I rolled out right away because of knight b3. I would have to move the queen again, although I'd be threatening c4, which is a fork. So that's kind of interesting, but I don't think it works. The other thing I liked is it pins the pawn. So that's a thing too. But I thought knight b3 there. Now I could play this move, I think. And the computer does agree. And I thought he would go here. And then I could just play knight c6. Now this is safe. I'm not going to lose my b pawn. But I played this move. Wow, I guess that's a mistake. Queen to b6. So what is the reputation of this move? I thought it might be a5, but I don't think so. I think a5 is probably not correct. Yeah, a5, the computer says gives up advantage. So what can white do here that is so good? I guess they can trade everything. Oh. Trade everything and play queen b3, which would attack the b pawn again. And then it's hard to defend it. Okay, so let's look at that really quickly. Queen b3. So is there more to it? Doesn't this look like a blunder? At first glance I see this, but I guess there's knight takes c4. My queen is undefended. So wow. What to do about this? I really do not want to push it. And if I can't play c4, then what do I do? I would definitely think about bishop c6. Computer says play bishop e7 and allow this. But I mean, that looks pretty terrible. They could even take here now and gain another tempo, and it's white that has the extra pass pawn. So I like white. So instead of bishop e7, I would want to defend the pawn. What happens if I do this? I'm sure something bad. Knight e5. Oh, that's knight e4. Knight e5 attacks the bishop. Oh, look at that. He's going to take it, and I would have to move the bishop away and lose the b-pawn anyway, so yeah, that move doesn't work because of knight e5. Okay, well, I did not see that continuation when I played queen b6. I did, I actually saw all of it, but not queen b3, which I probably should have saw. I might have even seen c4, but I definitely didn't see knight takes c4. Okay, so I guess this is a blunder because he had a way to get an advantage and win a pawn. Instead, queen to e2. And he thought a long time on this move. Yeah, he thought almost 10 minutes. Almost 10 minutes on this move. And here, I think it's time to play c4, and that is what I did. So c4, attacking the bishop. He went here, and now I went knight to c6. So, the normal move here is probably bishop to e7. Like, I just want to play bishop e7 castle, right? Like, get my rooks connected. But I thought if I go bishop to e7, I thought he might go e4. Computer is not worried about this whatsoever. It says now play knight c6. Yeah, I kind of understand. Because this is under attack. It wants rook d1. Probably to x-ray defend this. So I wonder if I can't take it. I guess I cannot take it. No, I can. It's equal. But this would happen. Okay, like I had to constantly calculate that chain of events, like where the bishop ends up on a8. That was pretty annoying. This game was tough to play, actually. Okay, so, oh, here b3 is the move. Yeah, you have to watch out for b3, like breaking down the pawn chain. There's a lot of guys on b3. And my queen is x-rayed, so I could see why white has compensation for the pawn. They're probably gonna just win it back. Okay, but I went knight c6 because I thought if e4, I will take that pawn. That is what happened. He did go e4. I did take. Yeah, so it's risky to take the pawn. Let's see why. Takes, takes. I was a little scared to play this way, but I figured it's pretty nice to win a pawn like this. So I thought if I could do this, I probably should. I think a lot of times in these Queen's Gambit Accepteds, you play for this queenside majority. And knight to f3 is a mistake. Interesting. Well, that looks like a very natural move to play. But computer says trade everything first and then play b3. So let's look at that. Takes, b3. I was constantly looking at stuff like this. Why is this good right here? I would definitely think about c3, but then again, the knight will move and attack with tempo. So yeah, let's see what this means. So here I could go queen b6. I want to play this move now, and bishop g3. This kind of happened in the game, this kind of stuff. So it actually wants me to block. Probably I would do this. And then b4. What? So what is the plan here? So if I take maybe rook a1, or what happens if I take this pawn? Rook b1. Oh. Yeah, I kind of missed that idea. So I would have to sadly retreat, but then probably rook takes. Yeah, I don't like black here. It says black's slightly better. Seems surprising to me because I'd be super nervous with my bishop here, my rook in the corner. My pawn is only defended by the queen. And e5 can happen at any moment. There's a check. I mean, I guess queen c7 and we're fine. We defend the pawn, we defend the check. But I would definitely feel nervous still in this position. All right, well, let's go back. In the actual game, he took, I took, and then he played knight to f3, which looks very natural to me. I'm a little surprised that that's not an okay move, but I can just go queen b6, it says. Now, why is queen c5 a mistake and queen b6 correct? Let's think about that for a second. Well, in the game, this move, which I calculated, and I thought I could just go queen c7. Oh, I went queen c8. Oh, I understand why it wants queen b6 now, I think. Or do I? Okay, I had a specific reason why I played this queen c8 move. Now I'm trying to remember what it was. I think it's because my bishop is going to end up on a8 and I might need to defend it. So let's just see what would happen if I played this move. Takes, takes, here, here. Now can that, yeah, rook a1. Rook a1, I got to defend my bishop. So that's why I wanted the queen on c8. So, did not see this move. Bishop d4. I was wondering what he was doing with this bishop. I think he wants to defend the e-pawn with his queen and possibly blockade my pawn with the bishop, although I think that's super risky because there definitely could be this at some point. So putting the bishop here helps me with that plan a little bit. Computer again wants to trade everything and then play bishop to c5. Bishop c5, what? Maybe it wants me to play bishop c5. It wants trade everything and knight e5. That's what it wants. So trade everything and knight e5. Makes some sense. All right, with this move in the game. And now I'm like, okay, excuse me. I better get my king castle before I end up in a lot of trouble. You know, like his rook's going to come to the center, and there could be all kinds of trades, especially this line we've been looking at repeatedly. So bishop to e7. And now rook d1 is a mistake. Once again, he should trade everything. Well, this time he can just trade and then play b3. It wants this. I thought, you know, I was like watching out for this b3 thing the whole game. And I thought it was fine. And you know what? It actually is. So I'm happy to see that. I guess the computer doesn't see anything better for white to do. But it's saying that after b3, it's still better for black. I mean, I basically stole a pawn. So when I played knight takes d4. Okay, so he played here. It's hard to understand why that would be a mistake, but I castle. Maybe that's why, because I can castle safely. So he has to do something to stop me from castling. Okay, let's continue though. Yeah, and bishop c3 I thought was probably a mistake. It's just an inaccuracy, turns out. Rook a to c1 is a move. A takes b5 again. Okay, because here I might be threatening b4. I had to look at this repeatedly. Oh man. I see that b4 is an engine choice. So I'm going to go through the calculation and let's see what I got wrong about it. I thought b4, I thought he could take the knight. I would take, he could play e5 if he wants to. I come back. Then he could play what? B3 doesn't work. And after b4, there is no a takes b5 anymore. So that's pretty nice. So what was I afraid of here? This looks fine. Yeah, this actually looks fine to me. So let's look. It does say bishop takes f6. All right, so I'm attacking this. So e5, that's what I thought. Bishop e7, that's what I thought. Okay, and then here, knight d2. I kind of thought this might happen, but I can probably play c3, right? Why not? Like if takes. I might even want to take with a queen, I'm not sure. Nope, it says pawn. So why not a queen? Not a queen because rook a c1. Black's still better here though. It does seem silly to put my queen in line with the rooks though. I like the pawn better too. The pawn comes with tempo on the knight, and we're already like behind the pawn with the queen. So I remember why I didn't go for this now. I saw this whole line. I actually did see it. But I thought maybe from here, white could try to round up my pawn. I wasn't sure how strong it is. Computer likes it, but, you know, rook, queen, I don't know. Everything could attack the pawn. So could I defend it? I kind of doubt it, but... All right, well, let's continue. So that is why I did not play b4 and instead played this move, queen to c7. An improving move. And I do think that my advantage is, you know, pretty substantial here and solid. Now, we're only on move 18, and I had 12 minutes on my clock. He had 17. And let's look at these moves. So rook d2, planning to double. I decided to challenge that. He took. And I took with a queen. I think I have to take with a queen. Rook d8. I actually saw this. If this, he can take on b5. If I take back, bishop a5. So my calculation training is paying off because I saw this. So I actually didn't take with the rook. I took with the queen. So this is good. And he played this move, and I thought, okay, I'll just go back to c7. So he took now. Bishop to e5. So white's gaining a little bit of an initiative here, but I really like these pawns for me. And he just opened up my rook on the open file too. Okay, so I went here. Now, I actually thought maybe queen c6 was a mistake. The computer doesn't mind it though, because this tempo move doesn't do much. I can just go queen b6. The knight went back. Okay, I thought I should challenge the rook. Bishop d4. So I thought he was going for a draw here. It's kind of funny. It's like he's just chasing my queen around, maybe happy with a draw, or maybe just repeating. But I did not want to repeat, so I took the rook and played this move. Now, I reasoned that this ending would likely be good for me because of my extra pawn. Seems reasonable. So I guess he should trade, but he went here. So here we are on move 29, and I am -3 in this position. Okay, -3. So I really want to see what happens in these next 7 moves, because I lose my way in the next 7 moves. So what happened? I thought I played pretty well to this point. Okay, and I'm just under 5 minutes, which should be enough time. Okay, I played h6, you know, just stopping any back rank stuff. Computer agrees with this move. He played h3. And now how do we press here? It's a good question. I actually think that my queen belongs on c5. But I did get nervous about maybe the queen. The queen could try to infiltrate on the d7 square. I know the knight's guarding that, but look, it's also attacked. So takes, and the queen could infiltrate here at some point. I don't know that I need to be super scared of that or anything, but I was a little scared. So, oh, I played this move. Okay. So I actually like queen b6. That's not an engine choice either. So let's look at the top engine moves. Okay, if queen b6, yeah, I keep my advantage. It's pretty much the same. So I guess this move's fine. I'm not going to worry about the other ones. But in the game, I played this one. Also fine. And b3 is a blunder. Wow. I wish Lee Chess didn't do this. You know, it kind of ruins it. I want to analyze and decide if it's a blunder and then look it up, but it's just doing this to us. All right. Why is that a blunder? Let's figure it out. I might know. Not totally sure. I was thinking if we take and knight c5, that would attack the bishop and the pawn, but the bishop could come back and defend still. And then what do we do? The knight would be here. Not sure. Could also take this, which I did in the game. Now, if we take and take, it feels like the knight isn't so stable here. I can now get a tempo on the knight, so can we make use of it? Well, this happened in the game, so let's look at it. Now, I went queen to c7. Yeah, and this is correct. The computer likes this. So the idea is to defend this again, and you know, I want to get ready to do this. The only problem with that is queen takes pawn, so I would need to defend my pawn first. So he did go back. Wow. Yeah, and the computer likes taking. So he should probably take with a bishop. And the idea is I have this check. Is this really so good? Why is this so good? Okay, I mean, he could even block if he wants. He can go king h2. He could block with a queen or a knight. If he blocks with a queen, I think we can feel pretty good about our chances, because we have two bishops and a passed pawn. If he goes king h2, there's queen f4 check. Just heard a banging. I wonder what that was. Sounded like my neighbors. Okay. Oh, and then this attacks this. So we could take this now. So he probably shouldn't do that then. So maybe he should trade queens, and if he does... Oh, again. Wow. So the whole point of this move is to distract the bishop off this. And then when we play check, no matter what happens, we'll get to win that pawn. It's pretty interesting. Well, what about if knight blocks? I'm sorry I go into all this stuff, but I just want to know what happens if knight blocks. Do we still win the pawn? In this case, we go bishop to b4. Oh, attack the pinned piece. Of course. Wow. So we had to see all of this in this position. Yeah, it doesn't look that hard to see, actually. All right, well. So in the game, I played queen c5. Yeah, and the computer, you know, it's screaming out to play that c takes b3 move and win this pawn. So I had 2 minutes left, though. And I did not find that move. Instead, I played here. I was pretty focused on defending this and then pushing this. And I wanted this defended. Okay, black still is -3. Don't get me wrong, but I was -6 in the other line. All right, so he takes. I take. Queen d2. I think he wants to come to d7. So I said, hey, would you like to trade? He said, no, thank you. Yeah, and I think this is where I mess up really soon. I remember being nervous in this part of the game. Yeah, this move attacks the pawn. And in 4 seconds I made this move. And right after I made it, I was like, oh, my pawn. I forgot about my pawn. And he thought a while. Oh, only 1 second. Felt like a while to me. Yeah, so bummer. Yeah, I actually thought 20 seconds on this move. So why was I focused on that? Oh, I remember. I came up with this plan. I wanted to do this. I thought this was going to be like really annoying. Not even seeing that I have to protect my pawn. So I have a bad habit of that. So I am going to do some training where I go over games. I might do it in video, you guys, so you can do it with me. But I want to like get in the habit that when my opponent makes a move, I immediately think, what are they attacking? Okay, I usually do, but I don't always, especially in time pressure. And I want to train myself to immediately look and say, hey, that pawn's attacked, I should defend it. Because this looks like a pretty obvious thing to see. There's no calculation involved. It's just my pawn's attacked, so I should defend it. It's like what I teach my kids' students. And instead, I was searching and searching for a plan. I was looking for a way to put pressure on him, and I got tunnel vision to do this. Can't do that. You're going to hang your pawn. So this is actually the moment that cost me the win. Or at least a big advantage, because you can't just blunder a pawn like this. But I did. Then I said, hey, let's trade queens. This move is fine though. I figured here is equal pawns, but I have 2 bishops. Maybe I can cause trouble. But given that all the pawns are on one side of the board, seems very unlikely. Plus there's chances to go into opposite color bishop here. So I will show you the end of the game. Yeah, computer says it's a dead draw already. That is what it felt like. I mean, how do I really do anything here? Yeah, and I missed knight c4 check. This forces a opposite color bishop ending. But the computer said all my moves are fine, so like I can't avoid this because, you know, you can't let him take a pawn, then I'm worse. So I have to take. Yeah, and now I think the plan's easy, you know, he just needs to go here, here. If I try to stop him and push my pawn, then the bishop comes, collects that pawn, so I can't really do that. So he's just going to put all his pawns on light squares and then move his bishop around. And I play it on. I mean, I can try to get my king up or something, but yeah, there's nothing to do. There's no targets. This is the base of the pawn chain. It's guarded by the king. The king will never ever be in zugzwang. So it was a draw. So I hope you guys enjoyed this game. I am going to go back to that key moment now, because it seems to me that if I want to start winning games, I need to deal with these moments, because my chess is improving. I can tell you it's improving because when I have time on my clock, I've been rarely making mistakes lately. Rarely. That's not how I used to play. But I spend time to like think things out, find the right moves. I'm finding them, which is good. But I get in time pressure and I get panicky because I'm always in time pressure, always. And I know what happens. I make a bad move in that moment. So in this game, I made it to move 37, or wait, move 30. and I had a huge advantage. Yeah, like here I have a huge advantage. This was all correct. Now queen of c5. I had 2 minutes on my clock. So let's think about this for a minute. If I wanted to win this game, I think I just needed to have more time on my clock. That's it. I think that's it, because I can find this move. I usually look at all the forcing moves, but when I have 2 minutes on my clock, I tend to see an okay move and just play it. But this would win right away because I'm going to win this pawn. I can definitely calculate that. It's not that hard. So what is the line ahead to calculate? Well, let's draw some arrows on the board and see how we do. Takes, takes. Now the bishop's not on the pawn anymore, and we have a check. Okay, when we check, now white has 3 moves. So if queen, we take the queen, the knight has to take, and then we grab a pawn. That looks completely winning. So that would be great. If the king goes to h2, we have queen h4, queen f4 check. Now it's easier to calculate because we did look at these lines, but I think I'm capable of seeing that check. I'm definitely capable. So I'm not seeing anything too hard for me yet. And the last one, this would probably be the hardest one for me to see. If knight e1, we have to attack the pinned piece with bishop b4. And that is going to win the knight, isn't it? Actually, white would probably go here. I would probably take it anyway, because takes, takes, and takes. And then once again, we win the pawn. So I think all of that is right in my wheelhouse for what I can do with calculation. I don't think that's a hard calculation at all. But I need to look closer at this move, and I'm not going to do that with 2 minutes left. The other thing, okay, but queen c5 doesn't make it a draw. I still have a huge advantage. I just missed a win. I don't want to miss a win. Okay, this is all fine. Yeah, and this part of the game, I had 1 minute left, and I just blundered a pawn. So it's these 2 moments. I missed a concrete win where I'd be 2 pawns up. That should be enough. And the other one is this. I got panicky and I stopped paying attention to what's going on the board and was thinking about this abstract idea. So yeah, I think I just need to train. I'm going to train and like go over games where I just immediately look at what is white attacking. Like what is my opponent attacking? I actually have a checklist. Sorry, this video is getting drawn out, but I'm kind of sharing my training methods with you. I actually have this checklist where the first item on the checklist is what is white attacking, okay? The second item on the checklist is what did they leave behind? Okay, that's a really good question to ask in chess because like Grandmaster Ben Feingold says, he'll be like, whatever the queen, whatever it was doing here, it's not doing anymore because it's not there. Sounds so obvious, but that can mean a lot of things. It could mean the queen was guarding some square over here. It could mean, the queen vacated, this diagonal. Maybe I could put my bishop here now, which I did. But it can mean a lot of things. So you look at what's it attacking, what's it leave behind. The third thing I look at is candidate moves. Okay, and that means look at the most forcing ones. Because it's easy, I think, to go with what you've been thinking about, but you shouldn't miss a check, you shouldn't miss a capture, and also what I call tempo moves, which might mean like if the bishop could attack the queen, like this move. Should always look at moves like this because sometimes you can distract the queen and do something else. Like I have no idea, like nothing works here, but just in theory, that's number 3 on the checklist. Okay, once I select my candidate move, my next thing is basically a blunder checklist. So I've selected my move. Now I ask, okay, my move here would be, I think Queen C5 is what I would want to play. So let's say Queen C5. I would immediately ask, what did I just leave behind? You know, like for example, I just vacated the D file. That might be important. So the queen could come here, attack this bishop. So that's something I should be aware of, right? And then the last thing is, once I make this move, what is my opponent's response? So it's a 5-tier checklist. And when I have lots of time on my clock, or not even that much, I can usually go through that pretty rapidly. So I want to analyze games where I do that checklist like on almost every move and really just get in the habit of thinking those things. I've done this in the past, and honestly, when I was 1200, I started it, and the checklist was the reason I stopped hanging pieces, because I trained myself to like look for stuff like that. But apparently I need more training because I hung my pawn and it cost me the win. So all in all, I think it was a pretty good game. We can look at the stats now really quickly. Can you guys see it? Not really. Okay, I think I can like shrink the board. Hang on, then it'll fit. Can you see that? Almost. Okay, you guys can see that. So yeah, I mean, I guess you can see why I'm really focusing on this part of the game. Like, what happened? So basically, I did a great job. I was in a very dangerous position too, like in this section. Like the computer says, no problem, defend perfectly and keep the pawn. But for humans, that's much more difficult. I had to look at like 5 active moves on every move and calculate them over and over again. But I did so accurately, kept the advantage, and then finally let it slip when I was on like at 2 minutes. So I do have a theory, you guys. No, I'm sorry, I'm feeling very determined right now. My theory is that if I can figure out my time management and I can learn how to play a little bit faster, okay, a little bit faster, I think my rating will jump 200 points and maybe more. I do feel that way because that's the only way I really lose games right now. That's probably not true, actually, but I think mostly it is true, mostly. So let's say that if I fix my time management by 50%, I think I'll gain 100 rating points because I might hold games that I would normally lose. I might win games that I might normally lose. And I might win games that I'm winning, which right now I don't. I often draw them, I often mess it up and lose even. And I win too sometimes. But I think that win rate, my results basically, are going to improve drastically if I figure out how to not do this part. So that's what is on my mind. So pretty bad tournament for me. I lost 3 games and now I have a draw. So I'm sitting at 0.5 going into the final round. But I'm going to try to end with a bang. So, and I think I might even play a training game tonight where I really focus on the clock. I think that is really going to be the secret to success from here. All right, well, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll be back with more chess, of course. Thank you, and have a great night.